Yo, 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 yo. Welcome to 2026 this morning. It's 2026. It's been a while since I checked in, but we still got 6 World Cup places that need to be determined. So, 6 places. Let's see, 16, 22 total teams still in the mix for those 6 positions, with our 4 European spots and our 2 Interconfederation playoff spots up for grabs. They will be determined by this time next week, just about. So games will be Thursday and Tuesday. So first round games Thursday, second round and final games next Tuesday, March 31st. So by the end of the month, we will have all 48 World Cup teams. Today, let's take a look at the playoff. I'll just do some previews and predictions. Not going to lie, I'm not an expert on Iraq, Czech Republic, New Caledonia, but we got some big teams, Italy. We got some minnows, New Caledonia. So let's take a look, see who we think will go forward and what we're looking for in these last playoffs. So let's start with the big one. That'd be UEFA Path A, which has Italy, Wales, Bosnia, and Northern Ireland. So obviously Italy, the highest ranked team in any of these playoffs. Disappointed by missing the last couple World Cups. Will it happen again? Italy are the favorite, but none of these teams will be easy. And Italy, obviously, we know they lost to Norway twice, gotten beat handily both times, but they weren't exactly dynamic in a lot of their other qualifying games. So they only beat Moldova 2-0 at home and 2-0 on the road with goals in the 88th and 90th minute. They needed a extra time winner to beat Israel 5-4. So this isn't necessarily the Italy team of past, whether you're thinking of way back in 2006 or about the Euros they won in 2021. Not the best Italy team, so I'm not feeling too good about that. Northern Ireland, they could go out. I do think Italy will take this one. And Wales, Bosnia, I am going with Wales here. So obviously no Gareth Bale anymore, but if you look back to last World Cup 4 years ago, he actually wasn't in great form, wasn't that instrumental in my mind to how they played. And a lot of these Welsh players are in good form right now. So when you look at sort of their attackers and midfielders, Brendan Johnson, Harry Wilson in great form right now for Fulham, probably going to transfer somewhere else next season. Also Nico Williams, tough season for Nottingham Forest, but again, another good defender, attacker, can kind of do it all, midfielder. And then just some strong experience from the playoffs last time from the defense. So here I'm going with Wales, and for all these reasons, and the big reason being the second game will be in Cardiff, I am going to pick Wales to be the winner for the playoff and have Italy miss out once again. So that's my pick. Wales over Italy. Defensive games all about. Wouldn't be surprised if any of these 3 matches go to overtime and penalties. But no Gareth Bale, but I still think Wales will have it over Italy, who just are not in great form right now. All right, pathway B, not as sexy without Italy, but some good teams here. Ukraine versus Sweden, Poland versus Albania. So Sweden has the sort of marquee players, but Isak is injured, and they played awful in qualifying, did not win a single game. They are here because of the Nations League and nothing else. They still have some players. I know some people think Sweden can take this, but man, Ukraine is scrappy. I mean, they've been in a war since last World Cup, the World Cup before. I mean, yeah. So Ukraine, scrappy, defensive, experienced, used to playing in places that are not their home stadium. I'm taking Ukraine over Sweden. And then in our other match, we've got Poland and Albania. Poland, kind of like Wales, we talked about earlier, with that one dynamic world-class player. Lewandowski's still there, unlike Bale. Albania, strong defensive team. They won a few games 1-0 in qualifying, including at Serbia, so they can get it done against big opposition. But I'm going to go with the experience here. Gonna go with Lewandowski and Poland to advance to the final. And here we go, Ukraine, Poland in the final. Not necessarily teams I would go out of my way to watch. Not necessarily teams I would, buy tickets for World Cup 2026, but very evenly matched. And I do think with that aforementioned scrappiness, the clawing out, the war-worn, war-ready, war-experienced, used to going all over the world to play home games, I am going with Ukraine to make the 2026 World Cup. So a good story there. Ukraine to win UEFA Path B. On to Path C, we've got Turkey versus Romania, Slovakia versus Kosovo. So yeah, I'd say this is kind of not the least. Yeah, this is probably the least interesting for me, except for the fact that the winner goes into the USA's group in the summer. So Turkey, Romania, Slovakia, Kosovo. Can't say I'm an expert on any of these teams. For the first one, I do think Turkey has a strong squad with Güler on Real Madrid, Yildiz on Juventus, and then again, always some experience in the back. We're going with that top seed Turkey to win. They also played pretty well against Spain. And then we have Slovakia versus Kosovo. Yeah, I'm going with Kosovo for this one. They did play pretty well in the group stage in a tough group. I think they were in with Sweden and Slovenia and Switzerland. So I think technically they were the fourth seed in that group and finished second, handily above Slovenia. Let's go for Kosovo there. Bringing us to Turkey-Kosovo final. And I think this is an easy one. Maybe not too creative, but I am going with Turkey for the win. So Turkey in the USA's group, Turkey to advance to the World Cup this summer. And then lastly in Europe, we have Path D. Denmark versus North Macedonia, Czechia versus Ireland. So fun teams here, especially Ireland. Denmark, strong team. They were upset, as you probably recall, by Scotland in their group play. North Macedonia famously defeated Italy in this round, I think as a fourth seed again, in 2022 qualification. But I think Denmark is just too strong overall experience, so I'm going with Denmark here to win. And then Czech Republic versus Ireland. Fun game. Got to go with the Irish. Troy Parrott going to do it again in the last minute. Why not? So Ireland to go through leaves us to an awesome game. Denmark versus Ireland. I hope this happens at Croke Park in Dublin. Be an awesome matchup. Denmark, all they needed to do was, I believe, just draw against Scotland to go to the World Cup. They were unable to do that in Scotland. So this is kind of a duplicate match there, pretty similar. Denmark needing to win, tie, I guess, if they want to do it in a shootout. But with their strong players, veterans in midfield with Eriksson, veterans on the defense, and then Victor Folhold, who plays for Porto, a great young player, dynamic young player. I do think Denmark will do it this time. Sorry, Irish, luck in on your side this week. And then lastly, we have the two Interconfederation playoffs. 2 of 6 teams will make it to the World Cup. Here, the top seed has a bye, so definitely an advantage. Only need to win 1 game, where the other teams will need to win 2. So we've got first New Caldonia versus Jamaica. New Caledonia is surprised even to get here. Jamaica maybe a surprise to be here, not in the World Cup, as they were unable to defeat Curacao at home on the final day of qualification. Even with that, though, Jamaica, I'm going to slide them through to the next round against a relative minnow in New Caledonia. Other first match, Bolivia versus Suriname. That'll be an interesting one. Suriname snuck up on some people this year. They did have a chance to go through, I believe, in the final day with a win. They were unable to do so and lost 3-0. Just squeaked in, actually, to the playoff even. They were almost pipped to that playoff position, but they did get here. Bolivia, known for playing and only winning at home. I mean, if you look at the qualification, that is what happened. Doing best at home, but doing better towards the end of qualification. So for that match, I am going to pick Bolivia. Not totally sure why. I just don't think Suriname will be able to keep up their quality play that we saw for part of the group stage. So then on to our finals. Not going to make a bracket here for these three-team mini playoffs. Democratic Republic of Congo versus Jamaica. This is actually an easy one for me. I actually did watch a number of their matches and a number of Jamaica's matches. So I'm going Democratic Republic of Congo, DR Congo, winning easily-ish. There won't be any easy wins in these matches except for maybe against New Caledonia. But picking DRC to move forward. They challenged Senegal, who won the African Cup of Nations, and are, I think on paper and in real life, the best African team. I guess Morocco, you could argue, pretty strong as well. But they challenged them in qualification, got second, and they were one of those top 4 second-place teams. They moved on. They defeated Cameroon in the semifinals, defeated Nigeria on penalties in the final. So those are 2 of the most consistent, historic, dominant African nations. Down years this year, obviously, but they were able to beat both of them in high-stake matches at a neutral location. So going DR Congo here. Then in our other match will be Iraq versus Bolivia. It's just my prediction. Maybe surprise here, maybe ignorance, but I'm going with Bolivia over Iraq. So Bolivia, like I said, does great at home. There will be a little bit of elevation where they're playing in Guadalajara. Not sure how many fans will be there. Maybe there'll be some Bolivians that make the trip, rooting for them. But Bolivia did play well down the stretch. They beat Brazil when they needed to. That was at home. They did have a few draws away as well. So I'm going with Bolivia. They actually started their qualification 0-4, so 4 losses, no wins, and then won in one game and then lost next. So they started off 1-5, but a lot of those games were way back in 2023, so a long time ago. That doesn't really have much impact on that team today. So I'm going with Bolivia, just an opportunity they can't pass up here in Guadeloupe. So my teams to go through: Democratic Republic of Congo and Bolivia. In Europe, we've got Ukraine, Wales, Turkey, and Denmark. So picking some favorites, some sort of not favorites. I know a lot of people aren't picking Ukraine, even though they're the top seed. Definitely pulling for them. I think Denmark will be able to pull it out over Ireland. And kind of my upset pick, Wales over Italy. But we're getting closer. World Cup playoffs, World Cup qualifying is back. We're here. World Cup 2026 coming soon. I'll have a preview video on players to watch and a betting video on these matches this week. If you want to make some money, trust me, or don't, we'll see.